Okay, so there's going to
10
be on your Twitch,
seconds.
so I'll switch over to your channel.
Hi everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Lilybit and these are my besties. Hi girls.
Hey, Lily.
So this is Soleil and this is Venus.
Hey Soleil, hey Lilybit. Yes, good to see you. Close by the fire. Cool, that's nice.
Yes, it's nice and cozy today. We decided to do a little bit of camping by the beach, you know, with a nice lovely roasting fire, overlooking a slightly overcast background. Where is the camera?
I still need my marshmallows. We need to actually have a s'mores date soon.
Oh yeah,
Where
wouldn't that be cool
I
to
want to
have
cook on the fire.
marshmallows?
Yeah, I
Marshmallows
like
and
You want us to cook
potatoes.
you?
yeah,
Potatoes.
Sweet
marshmallows
potatoes.
and
Sweet potatoes.
salchichas.
Yeah.
Salchichas, those are sausages. Yeah, hot dogs.
Always like sausages.
Yeah, that would be cool.
No, only if
Yeah.
they're really good quality, with no gluten in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, girls, how was your week? What's been happening?
Lots of stuff.
They were that good. Too many things to explain.
Yeah, I just had to take a breath and just drop into my body and see what is there.
Remember?
Mm, mm, mm.
I had a really good orgasm today
Busy,
before
busy
this
week.
stream.
That's a good place to
Oh my
start.
god. I'm so jealous. So
It's what I remember today.
Mm.
We went to the river and it was really cool and mucho refrescante y después muy bueno orgasm and it was a really nice day. I'm happy.
Oh, nice. Oh, lucky girl.
Yeah.
Well, I yesterday explored this world in vrchat, where they were playing some visuals, some hentai porn, and really ridiculous
nice.
stuff. Like sort of quite animated, and the pixelating the genitals or the penetration, like just in this silly way. But still really, interesting to watch. And it's more about the sound of it, the sounds that the audio track that they put to it. That's quite arousing.
Right.
And so I had a bath with my friend, and it was beautiful. And there were some other people just hanging out on the bed, just enjoying the movie and having a chat, and was able to like hook up to the toy and the app and be in public and be connected with the toy inside me. So I had a really lovely orgasm there. And it was just quite interesting because it was more of a quiet experience.
Did you
Yeah,
synchronize
it's like
orgasm to something
you were all
watching?
sneaky.
It asked, did I synchronize it? Well, it ended up being synchronized, I guess. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we ended up going closer to the screen so we could actually watch it instead of being in the bath where we were back in the corner.
What was on the scene when you were
Yeah,
coming?
so
what was the imagery on the scene when you were coming?
I think it was penetration, basically, and they do a lot of liquids.
Pixelated.
In hentai, they do like
Pixelated,
liquid, dropping and dripping down, and they overdo the liquids, which is really cool. So I think that was
Well, that's funny that they actually pixelate the pixels. I mean, why? Doesn't make sense.
Oh, it's funny. Maybe it's a legal thing, or maybe it's a bit of a joke. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of like when I watch Japanese porn in general, they pixelate it. So even hentai, they pixelate because it is this like shame factor that they are allowed to create it and watch it, but there's still this like limiting of. One of the reasons I actually like Japanese porn is oftentimes the men are clothed and they're just like servicing a female, and I really like it because one of my favorite Japanese porn is actually this like girl who's tied up, and there's like 10 men with Hitachis, like magic wands, vibrators, and they're all just like trying to stimulate her. They're all just like clothed and attacking her with this Hitachi, and it's really funny because it's like not about them, even though like I'm sure some of them are getting off on it, but it's this interesting like female-led scene that's like built in the shame pattern of that culture.
Mm.
Interesting. Oh, you girls
So
had
anyway, so
some.
that's two. Well, that
Lily,
was
I
just
forget that
picking
like
out
these
the.
things just shock you.
Yeah, that was just picking out one moment in our week that was easy to recall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any
How
like
about you, Lily?
ecosexual experiences lately, or anything like along those lines? We talked about one other episode, like nature
Let me
integration.
think. Nature? No, really. No, I don't think so.
We're
I'm
doing
very
it right
vanilla.
now.
I feel
Lily.
like I haven't lived.
Yes,
Oh, we're doing it right
yes, we
now.
are.
What do you mean?
Here we are. We decided to be
We're in the
outside
sexy
for this
landscape.
stream.
Your booty's
Yeah,
touching.
we've
Your
got
body's
the,
touching the ground.
and look,
You're
there's a
fucking the earth.
Oh, I
jet
see.
there. I can see the lights over on the island of all of the town over there,
Yeah.
and I can just
Yeah.
hear the sound of the music.
I haven't been like on a nudist beach. You know, like I always kind of wanted. I was, curious about it, but I've never really been on a nudist beach. Have you? Have you been on a?
Yeah, I used to go. I
Yeah,
go a lot
I
when I
love
was
them.
living in Portland. Really, it's
Yeah.
a fun place to be. They're usually like not. There's usually not sex allowed, so you're just sort of like enjoying nudity and play without there being explicit. Like you're not watching people fucking, which is like there's still children playing. There's still this kind of like just acceptance of bodies, which I really appreciate.
And I think it depends how large the space
yeah,
is. Like
that sounds good.
we've got a really quite a long nudist beach designation close to where I live. And so there's one bit where, there's men that hang out and they walk around, just, being able to relax and just show off everything. And then there's other bits where there's no one there at all. And it's just like totally private, which is what I prefer. So it's not a play space at all, but just a place where I can get a proper tan and not be bothered by anybody.
There was always one guy on our nudist beach who would like to do somersaults naked, and or not somersaults, cartwheels. So that was just like this like windmill of penis that you'd be watching of this like old gentleman. I'm like, I appreciate his freeness in his body and his desire to like let it breathe fully.
Yeah. Because it can be quite funny sometimes, the male form. It can be so sexy and arousing, but at the same time, it can be quite funny, It can do like little ridiculous little things like the helicopter thing and, yeah.
Totally. And I've heard that like
it's
new
like a
beaches in
fun
Europe.
toy.
I've heard in Europe that the like straight beaches are very different than the gay beaches in Europe, and so there's a very different cultural divide around like what happens on the beaches and what you see and what kind of like which I can see actually living in Mexico. I'm living in like the gayest town in Mexico, and the gay men work really hard to be very like well manicured and keep their cocks and everything really beautiful. Whereas like the straight men tend to just be like not very interesting looking. It's an interesting divide like when you're on a gay beach and there's like just a lot of like really men who've worked hard to be pretty.
Yeah, well, they're healthy too. I mean, there's this sense of pride and in their health and like being like looking really hot and being being ready to be sexual. And
some of it's kind of
I think
toxic. Some of it's like hot bod norms.
Sure.
Like they feel like they have to be. It's not all healthy, but yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes there is in the straight culture this like sort of disconnection from their body and their sort of confidence to be open.
Can we explore that? Why do straight men not care about how they look? Is it the patriarchy that's like taught them that they don't have to worry about it?
Yeah, even like things like real estate, like that happened in California. I remember when I lived there, like Soho used to be just South Hollywood. It was just like a rundown town, a bit of a gutter place, not very nice. In the moment gay couples started purchasing these properties and started fixing them up and put a lot of pride into it. Now it's such a trendy, beautiful area and it's gone up in price. And so like the best way to get your suburb to go up in price, have a couple of gay, people move in and improve the place. And then,
But Lily,
it benefits everybody.
What's your theory on why straight men don't try very hard to look nice? Like, is it because they can still get laid? They don't think they have to. Like, they feel entitled to sex, so they don't have to like try very hard. Whereas gay men like believe they should try harder to like maintain a certain image.
I think it's several reasons. It's probably different for everybody because there might be some that have been brought up that just to think that if you do all that, manicures and face treatments and, that sort of type of care, it's associated with feminine traits. So they don't want to be feminine, They like the rugged type of,
because
that's what they think a rugged man.
Because that means, because they make it mean something. Bad.
Yeah.
And that means they're not a man or something.
Yeah. It's an ego.
Yeah. It's an ego thing.
Well,
or some of them, they just don't think about it. They're like, it's like the same thing is that why do they do dangerous things, like go up a roof with a ladder that they don't secure properly, like little things like people with common sense will think about it and they're like, yeah, I'll be all right, whatever. And they end up, killing themselves sometimes because sometimes they don't think about the consequences. I think.
I often think about like doing dating coaching. Like I want to just message every dude on an app, on like straight men on apps and be like, let me help you make your profile better by like actually taking a good photo. Like it's so disappointing sometimes how many maybe really interesting men, like really people I would want to talk to, but like look like shit in all their photos. And I'm like, how is it that there's like a universal like belief that this is okay to like not even try to like take off the baseball hat and put down the fish.
Well,
and,
is it their fashion?
Okay, is
it their fashion sense? Is it their ignorance and their upbringing and their sense of fashion? I mean, do they think that's actually cool? I don't know. Or have they just never had guidance? I don't know. I think some of it's just about they don't care. Like they don't. There's this element of not knowing how to like really care for their body and to be confident in showing it off. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't think it's about entitlement. I don't think it's so much because, a lot of them don't get sex. That's the thing. I mean, they may think that
but they don't believe that they need to change it all
like that,
to like... they don't believe that they need to work on it. Like it's something like that they should be entitled to it, even if they're not getting it. That like someone should just want them
having porn as their friend and no girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
If you,
that might be the case for a couple of them, but I think the majority. I mean, this is what I think. The majority is just that they're a little confused and they don't know how to go about it, and they think that if they do some sort of polished, groomed photograph of themselves on a dating app, that they're not being genuine, and they don't want to be accused of that. They don't understand that just looking your best is not necessarily catfishing. They're scared to be accused of that. And that's why they can't I always wear a cap, I'll just keep my cap on and this is what I do. So I'll show my fishing gear. But they don't understand that, if you are in a camping date with someone, then that's okay to look like that, because that's what you're going to do. But if you're in a, like when you go for a job interview, you don't show up in your cap and your fishing gear, So they have to kind of understand that, when they present themselves on a dating app, it's a little bit like, going for a job interviews, they have to look their best. And a lot of them are scared of being accused of not looking who they really are, Maybe.
Well, I mean, it's interesting doing like being a dominatrix or doing like a lot of my dominatrix work is actually more like life coaching. Like I like help men with our like daily life. And I had one client that I just had to keep telling that they smelled bad. I was like, how do you not know that you smell bad every time? And, like I felt bad saying it, but I was like, this is like basic stuff. Like your house smells bad and you smell bad, which means that girls don't want to come over and they don't want to touch you. But it's like something that's that basic that then they're like, well, why don't people want to spend time with me? And it's like you have to like we had this conversation.
Basic hygiene.
A different client.
Basic hygiene skills.
There's this belief that they oftentimes because they have power or money or other kinds of like, belief that they're really intelligent and really like men prioritize other kinds of traits as the primary. As long as I make money and as long as I have this and this, and I'm marketable. Whereas women are much more like socialized that we have to just be pretty no matter what. Like no matter whether we just got out of bed, we're supposed to like, always be pretty, and therefore we're desirable. Versus like any of the other skills we probably wish we would be valued because of.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the guys that, or people in general, because I mean, I have met girls that don't really smell good either. You know, they're not aware of that. And I think it's because, you know, like if you go out on a date and one of them has a garlic in their meal, the other person can smell it, you know, in their breath, and it's like, you know, it's really strong. But if both people have it, somehow is that you become immune to it, and you don't even notice it that you both actually have stinky breath of garlic, you know. And I think that if you are in a situation where you are in, you get used to your own smell, even if it's a bad smell, and you don't notice it anymore. You become accustomed to it. Even in your house, if it smells a certain way, you don't notice it anymore. Eventually, you just like, you know, get used to it. And it's until you only notice it when, like, if you go away on holiday for, you know, let's say 3 weeks or whatever, and then you come back, and then the smell is like, that's when they'll notice it. It's like, oh wow, yeah, I can see it now. That's the case for a lot of people, and some other ones, they just don't care. You know, it takes all kinds. We're all different.
But then it expands to beyond just like looking nice, where it's like men who don't think that it's worthwhile, like trying to please a woman. Like I've had another conversation with a client who was like, I just don't enjoy going down on someone. I just don't enjoy trying to make them come. So why should I? And like this dude literally said this to me, like, I don't enjoy it. So why should I have to? And it was like, figure out how the fuck you could enjoy it then, because if you don't enjoy your partner's pleasure, like that's just like, that's like bordering on psychopathology, like that you don't see another person as a valuable entity in a sexual interaction. Like that's more than just like, oh, I don't really like the taste of pussy. That's like, you don't actually care about this other entity that you're using. But I hear that from a lot of men that they're like, oh, I just don't really like it. I don't really enjoy watching them with toys, or I don't like the way the toys feel, or like all the things that would make a person with a vulva come. They're like, oh, I don't enjoy it. So why should I do? Oh, it's exhausting.
It's lack of education, I think, a lot of it. It's ignorance, but through lack of education. I think there's a feeling that they don't know what to do, and there's this element of inadequacy. I think some of it comes out of that. And other ones are just lazy fucks that like don't want to find, you know, take that time to find the, you know, what switches you on, because that
like it's easier to say that I don't like it than it is to say I don't know how.
Yeah. I think often it's like actually what they're meaning to say is I don't know how to do it. I feel inadequate about it because they have this concept that women or people, you know, are so difficult, and it's like I don't have the ability to succeed, and perhaps I'll rather just give up and say no. Why do I have to do it? They can get themselves off.
Yeah. Oh man.
Maybe it's so also that they've been shamed as children, you know? If you're in childhood and your family values is like, you know, the human, you know, private parts are taboo and there's something referred to as something dirty, then they will grow up with that sort of
we've all grown up with that,
and that's why it would be hard. I don't think so.
Sorry, there's no excuse.
Some people more than others. No,
at some point
you'll be surprised how sometimes some people take it further.
But they get over it for themselves, right? Because eventually they're like, oh, I get to come. So they get over it when it comes to their own bodies. They're like, I deserve pleasure. I get to find access to, maybe they don't believe it in that meaningful of a way, but they start to think, oh, I deserve access, or I should be able to come. But it's this like, part of my role in a sexual encounter is that it is an exchange of energy. It is the give and take. And that's why I love BDSM and kinky spaces so much, is it explicitly talks about this exchange of energy that is deliberate. There is movement, and if you notice, like I can tell the minute like movement of energies has stopped with a partner or someone new that I'm fucking, where I'm like, it's just like there's like dissonance where it's like two like nails on a chalkboard. Something's happening where it's like
it's
the
not,
energy is no longer flowing.
The cogs are not. It's like the cogs are no longer fitting in like, together, and it's going.
Let's figure it out. Yeah. And like people who can't perceive that, I'm like, how do you not notice it, or do you like just keep going because you feel bad about being like, hey, what's happening?
Yeah. Why is it that people are unable to communicate sometimes in those moments? And I've been thinking about that this week. I've been a little bit frustrated around communication with people. And why is it that sometimes we're just scared to approach someone and say, I won't need to talk about this thing that's difficult for me to speak about? Oh.
Yeah. So we don't want
I don't know.
rejection.
I
We
guess
don't want to be
because
rejected or abandoned.
yeah, and there's maybe sometimes we don't know how to articulate what we're feeling. I get that. Perhaps like I'm in a frozen place. I can't speak with you. But I don't know. We talk a lot about communication is the key, and then sometimes I find that I struggle to initiate that communication well with somebody else, because I guess it is a two-way street. But I always want to learn how to be better at initiating conversation and communication that's maybe necessary to have rather than avoiding it. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. Have you got any tips? Let me know.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of like the friendships that I lost early on in my life when I was bad at communicating, and I was bad at like I'm pretty, we talked about this, Lily. I'm pretty ADHD, so I'm pretty impulsive, and there's been times where in friendships I would say things that would hurt people, or I would do things physically, like I would in kinky spaces. I would just like I had a friend, I would always walk by her and just punch her in the tits, and I just thought she liked it for months and months until she was like, and then she would always joke about it, and then she's like, please stop that. And it was just this like my impulsivity, my desire. I wanted to connect with somebody, like I'm gonna tell you everything, and I want to talk about your life, and I want but then I would lose those friendships because then they would be like, I don't like these things you've been doing for a long time, and they struggle to tell me that and stop me in the moment. And I really I need people in my life with super, super strong boundaries, because I just will bulldoze over people with my enthusiasm to connect.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. You really push, you test other people's boundaries in a way, like, are you able to meet me here?
Not because I want to,
and if you're unable to draw
who I am.
No, that's just how you are. I get it. Yeah, cool. Wow. And that's always
well, not cool because I just lose friends, but
well, yeah, cool. When you were younger, though, you said, hey, and then you did learn, I guess, better interpersonal skills and better relational skills.
Sure.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Lily?
Yeah, I lost.
No, I was just saying that I was checking the chat, and we had Wolfwoodhan. She was here for a little while, but I had to go to work. So, but he said it was a pleasant stream. So thank you for your support. Thanks. And we'll catch you another time.
Lily, are you good at conflict with friendships? Are you good at boundaries and dealing with problems with friends?
Not really. Not really. Still, trying. It's always a trying thing, always trying to assert yourself. I've been a little bit of a pushover. When I was younger, I was a bit of a people pleaser for a long time, and it got me in a lot of trouble. But, it's like, when you hear other people talk about it, like, I think that's why one of the, everybody talks about the bad things of social media, and yeah, there are a lot of bad things, but one of the good things is that you hear people in your situation and how they've overcome it, and you kind of learn from other people's experiences, and that has helped me to kind of stand up for myself a little bit, or learn how to kind of at least, explore being a little bit more assertive.
So you would be somebody that I would push your boundaries, and you would take a long time to tell me.
Yes. It used to be the case. And because I got hurt so many times, and that's where my trust issues came from, the people that took advantage of it, that rather than me learning how to kind of say no, I would just simply build the brick wall. And I don't trust people anymore at all. I don't even give them a chance a lot of the time. It takes me a while to actually trust someone because of that.
Well, thanks for giving me a chance to be your friend. I feel really lucky to be in connection with you, knowing that it's hard sometimes.
Oh, you're fine, sweetie. It's good. I mean, you guys are. I'm okay with you, and it's yeah. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm talking about people that I've just met, strangers, and in particular, guys. Yes. But more than guys, girls. I tend to be very wary of girls because I have been betrayed quite a lot by so-called friends in the past. This is years ago. So, but now I'm very cautious. So if I'm relating to you in a good way now, it's because my wall has come down, so we're in a good place.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is 3 girls, 1 mic, by the beach today, and sharing,
Yes.
I think about
openly.
that one of our inspirations for the show was doing like what we would chat about at a slumber party. And I remember a slumber party when I was a teenager. I almost never got invited to them because I grew up really poor and I was not very cool. I was like the nerdy kind of religious girl and very poor and didn't have like nice things. Didn't really have a lot of friends, even though I was really outgoing. But this popular girl invited me to the sleepover, and I brought like some cute things, and I had this like lingerie that my mom had given me that I like is like one of my mom's favorite pieces of lingerie that she gave me to wear as like a sleeping gown. It was like a, I don't know, like a dress kind of thing. And I was wearing it for the slumber party, and I thought I was like so cute. And this girl was like, "You need to give me that. I want that." And I gave this girl this negligee from my mom that was like important since my childhood. It was like a really meaningful piece, and I just gave it to this girl. And to this day, I think about how like I wanted to belong and be connected so much in this like one of my first summer parties that I just gave away this like important piece of my story. But it's interesting how like in childhood we learn from our friends that like we get taken advantage of because we want to belong and want to connect so much that we learn those roles. So now I think maybe I do push boundaries in some ways because I'm like taking up space more than I got to when I was in those places of trauma and reactivity as a kid.
Yeah, it's almost like you're now sort of, filling that gap with going, okay, I saw that my boundaries were able to be pushed and I just gave them away. Totally. I think that's
you overcompensate.
Normal.
And
I think it's also very normal that, yes, as you said, we'd learn how to belong, like how to be accepted into spaces or how, what do I need to belong? And obviously that's what we navigate as we grow up is the boundaries of like, no, I'm going to be who I am. And you'll either like me, hate me, or be neutral about me. I mean, that's the reality. Yeah. So, and you can't control that. So I guess that's what we learn, as we grow and get to know what our boundaries are, that I can be more, no, this is where I stand. And I mean, there's still,
I do still tend to like, I can tell when I'm being a push up. Gifting is one of the things I really struggle with, where I give gifts to people a lot, where like gifts that are important to me as a way to show love. And I noticed that with men who are pretty toxic in my life, like things I've given them, and then I regret it for a long time because there's this like, there's still that deep, even though I'm like taking up more space, there's still this pattern of like, I want to be wanted, and gifting is one of the ways I learned to do that.
Like you could say it was one of your love languages in a way, like one way of expressing it.
Like if, I didn't think I was enough. So if I could give possessions or give things I made, or then I was then I would be wanted. Yeah.
Okay.
And also I think because people that we're sort of people pleasers, another thing that happens is that because we want to be liked, it comes from maybe a place of insecurity, but it could mean that we are a little bit of a sort of empath, like we can actually feel what other people are feeling, and we can tell when people are not quite liking us, or we're unsure, or they're unsure about us. So we kind of try to overcompensate too, because we can tell, if I didn't know, or like someone didn't like me, you wouldn't care. But because you can feel it, you cannot try even harder to get them to like you. Because, I think it's a little bit like that. A lot of empaths tend to be over pleasers when they don't know that that's what they are.
Yeah.
When they feel all these emotions and they're all confusing and all that.
And they're not always right. Like we're not always reading it correctly, but we assume we are. We're sometimes misreading it. Like they don't like us.
That's true.
Their social cues are different, or like they're autistic, or something is different on how they receive or give
Exactly. Exactly, and that's why I find very, very large parties very confusing, because there's a lot of emotions going on, and I feel them, a lot of them, and then I don't know. It comes to the point where I don't know whether they're my emotions or somebody else's, or who's feeling what, and that's what I get very overwhelmed at large gatherings. I can take it for a little while, but then after, with the music going and everybody talking and all these emotions going around, it just becomes too much for me. And I need to leave sometimes to kind of cleanse myself and get rid of all those emotions. But when you're younger, yes, you don't know who people, but I've noticed that, at least in my case, I'm usually kind of right when I know that somebody's, not necessarily they don't like me, but that they're not sure about me, or they're like, they're like wary of me. I can feel that. And it's, a lot of the time I'm thinking like, it's just my imagination, and don't be silly. But then as the things progress and the relationship goes further, I'm usually proved right. And so that's why I tend to be very cautious with people that don't like me. Talking about the empaths, what do you think? Do you think guys are the percentage of empaths? That I was under the understanding that it was more women, but do you think guys suffered through stuff like that, or they're not aware?
I think it comes out differently for them because they're not socialized often to have sensitivity to their feelings. So they haven't been taught like they get to feel their feelings, or they get to express them, and they get to like talk through them and explore them. Like they can't sit with them the same way that we have been sort of trained to. And so I think there's like, they might be feeling them, but it comes out as anger. It comes out as, oh, I need to go do this like action thing, or I need to go like chase some adrenaline, or like I think it comes out differently. But yeah, I think there's just as many. I think it's kind of a human universal trait that there's some different scales around where we fall on the empath spectrum.
How much we're willing
I think
to
you're
feel
right.
what other people are feeling. I think
Totally.
we all have that empathic element of being, because our fibers are moving and interacting with each other's all the time, in this space, or it can even go across the seas, globally. We, as you know, we can be energetically connected through our fibers. But how much I want to, like, I know that there was a time where I was like, I want to shut that down. I want to shut down that sensitivity to what I'm feeling, and which I can see is perhaps more of an approach that
burden.
is, well, I don't know, maybe just being a bit overwhelmed and wanting to, I don't know, close my circle down. I'm not saying it's healthy.
Yeah.
But
speaking of the
Sometimes
hentai
you just
like
like a break.
Yeah, totally. Like, sorry, connecting the conversations. Speaking of the hentai, like the
back
auditory
to the
cues are
beginning.
really hot. The auditory cues are really hot for you. I think sometimes with empathy, it's that for me too. Like when I hear a certain song, or I watch something on TV with a certain music playing, like I'll start crying almost instantly. There's these auditory cues to like my emotional receptors that will like bring me into whether it's pleasure or sensitivity to like emotion that is really beautifully done sometimes in like cinematic spaces, or in where you get to see like we're led through this journey of this emotion of like I really love the show. I love Death and Robots, the like Netflix series, like they're little shorts about robots, all animated. And some of them are so beautifully done, and they're it's 10 minutes of a story about a robot, and I'm bawling my eyes out because it's just the way they use audio and music to bring you into the emotion of this like these cybernetic beings.
Yeah.
Totally. It's super important, the audio component, like to activate receptors. And I think
the way
almost more powerful
very,
in a way,
right.
because I think the collective consciousness is sort of around, I don't know, I think audio is more of a frequency element, so it's just affects us all in, you could say, maybe a similar way.
Because even people that are actually deaf and don't hear sound, but they feel the vibrations of that sound. That's how powerful sound can be. Because you can even feel it. It's the frequency that actually affects you.
Maybe why VR is still really impactful in terms of connection, because we can still feel someone's emotions and connect with them. I mean, a little bit different again if they're just chatting, but we can still really sense this energy and this connection with this being, no matter what their avatars are. there's this energy moving.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
why when you
actually
go in
find
certain
the
worlds,
body
you know,
language. I'm
have you been to this
really noticing
some of
that
the
we can
worlds
speak a lot.
that? Sorry,
Cool, we both went at
ahead.
the same time. No, just to finish that, I'm
Okay.
really noticing how much body language we do actually use here in VR, and how I'm becoming more and more sensitive to it. That's all I wanted to say.
No, that's very, very true. It's like, you know, when you go to some of these worlds where that they put NPCs, you know, the non-player characters, you know, like these little avatars that are actually just like, there's nothing. Yeah, nobody's controlling them. They're automatic. They freak me out.
I want one.
You know, the first time I went to one of those worlds, and they were walking around and walking towards me, and I couldn't feel anything from them at all. And I was like, oh no, this is freaky. I didn't like it to start with, you know, and I was like, yeah,
totally.
I was the opposite, actually, when I went to a world initially, and there was this like a maid and a butler. They were walking around while we were just in the lounge room having a chat and watching something. And I was sort of different. I was like, who is that? What are they doing here? There's someone here. You know, and then realized that it was just this NPC on a loop walking around looking like he was actually doing something.
Yeah.
And then I found that I could joke about it though. Like then when we were like making out, it was like, what is she doing here? Look at her. She's watching us. Oh, she's so kinky. And so I actually brought the NPCs into it. It was quite fun. I was like,
you use them as
always look at her. She's doing no work. Yeah, I was like, look at her. She's doing no work. She's just like self-pleasuring over there in the corner watching us. I think you should sack her. You know? And then I come around another time and I was like, she's still here. You haven't sacked her. So it was just a bit of a play. So I interacted, I brought them in
good.
and gave them sort of human
roles,
emotions and roles.
Do you ever encounter humans? Oh no, sorry, Lily, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the only NPC that I do like, because all the other ones that I've encountered, I usually like, because when I go world exploring, and I'm on my own, so that's why they freak me out. But like the only one that I really like, and I think she's really, really funny, is the one at the B Club. Have you seen the NPC? This is the receptionist.
Yeah,
because she greets you. She says your name. Yeah, like although it's just like a little car, thing that says, "Oh, hi, Lily." What? That doesn't freak me out so much, but yeah, it's cute. But all the other ones, yeah. So sorry, Soleil, what were you gonna say?
No. I was thinking about like there still are humans I encounter in real life too that feel like NPCs, and it's funny because it's like people will joke about like the simulation theory or like the Matrix stuff, but there is times where like I talk to someone, I'm like, how do you not realize what's happening in the world around you? Like you're
exactly
you're so stuck in whatever system you're living in that like you don't like you have no perception of
like a drone
around you.
I see them like drones. It's like a programming that's what they have, and they just cannot see.
I hate the grocery store in America because it's just like so many drones in the grocery store. And I'm just like, oh, you all hate being here just like I do.
Yeah. No, it's incredible when you meet people like that, hey?
Yeah,
they just cannot see outside of their belief box, you know, their system of belief about how
programming. They're just like they stick to their programming and that's it. Yeah,
the world is very small, but you know, there's comfort in that. There's a comfort in having a small world where we don't have to actually step out and go, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing that I dream of doing." They don't do it, even if they dream of it.
In some ways, you and I, the three of us, are really unique in that we are seeking like a big and expansive world, like in VR, like we actively chase opportunities for newness and for difference and for connection, and so many people are afraid of this, like what this could be or what it will be, and it's like, no, this is like this new landscape of human connection and potentiality without never needing to leave. You know, I'm usually during the stream, I'm naked in my bed, and it's just like, this is my normal state of being.
So easy.
And I don't need to go anywhere to have really beautiful connections and play and go to new worlds.
Don't need to like fix up my face and fix up my hair. Just like wake up and just jump in.
It's brave though. It's not. It's people see it as avoidance, but it's bravery.
Well, and actually, we're
because we actually eventually need to, you know, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
like we're pioneers, like you say.
3 girls and 1 mic shows that, like you said, we want to actually be a part of developing a new world, the new world of harmony, you know, communication, all of that stuff we talk about.
Yeah.
You know, having
Talking
the
about,
kinky
all
sex
these
you
different,
want, how to navigate all of
all these
that, how to
different,
get what you want, and how to break out of the conditioning that we have.
all these worlds and new frontiers that we're finding. There's a show that I rewatched again recently. Unfortunately, it was meant to be like 4 seasons, and typical Netflix cancels them halfway through, and I hate it when they do that. It's called the OA. Have you seen that show?
Oh, I love that show. I love that show so much. It's beautiful.
It's I'm so upset that they canceled it because it has so much potential to actually explain a lot. I think, even though it's supposed to be, like an alternative version of what happens, because it talks about the multiverse and the different layers. I can't stop thinking about it now that I saw it again. That how we are all connected, and if you're a spiritual person, it actually satisfies that need. But if you're not, it also explains it in a way that again, that we are just energy. And the people that chooses to come back is because they want to, for some reason or another. And so another one that I saw recently again, it was the Good Place. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's a cute show. Lots of beautiful
I love that one
show
too.
I don't know if it's just my internet, but Sin, do you want to check the stream? Maybe it's just that I'm buffering, but I saw there was an error.
No,
it might be fine on your end.
I'm checking it.
Okay, so
I'm checking
it's just
it,
my
and
internet.
it's fine.
Okay, sweet. Oh, cool. That's right. You've got it going as well.
It's all good.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah,
We've got no more visitors today.
No visitors today. I don't know if maybe the change of the time might have been a play on that.
Oh, we haven't had any visitors.
We can talk about that later.
Much at all.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
We'll have to talk about it later. Yeah.
I think it's fun. It's not so important. It's just nice to be able to sit in the rain here with you. I don't know if it's raining for you, but that's the other thing about VR that makes me laugh. We can have different experiences in the same space. So, this idea that you can be having an experience that actually looks different and you have your personal preferences more, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I want an NPC or actually the next level of that, like an AI. Apparently there are AI avatars now. So I don't exactly know what that means, but the AI will interact with people let's say they interact with guests in our events, and they talk with them and they remember what that person talks about. How cool would that be? So they could also then learn, or we program it to know the community agreements and the guidelines of the space that we're creating.
I like
and
that,
so it's able to educate people on that. How cool is that? Like actually be useful.
It's useful.
I don't know if that means having another account running, but the next level to an NPC where it actually is useful for helping people move through processes, like just basic technical stuff, like how do I sign up to, give you money? And it goes, well, there's different ways. Or, how do I join the community events?
But I wonder if that could be actually referred to as an NPC. I mean, I guess it would be the legal term or the actual proper term, but I wouldn't regard them as NPCs because non-player character, they're usually just empty. They're just little bits of code and that's it. But AI, it's a little bit more than code.
Avatar.
So an AI would be awesome. I would embrace that completely. I would love to have conversations with an AI avatar for sure. That would be
so
really,
then it can
really
be
cool.
in the world, in the public world, and when people come and visit, they can interact with this AI. You just have it, working 24/7 for no money.
I mean, and like
just
the idea would be like, what if the AI
to work?
If the AI was teaching like sex ed and doing basic consent and like the things that we don't necessarily, it's hard sometimes to repeat the basics of sex ed every single time to people, but it's like if an AI can be like, hey, let me show you where the vulva is and pulls up a little diagram, and like that would be really lovely.
Yeah, or you have the experience where you go to the world and you run through the program with it. You go through whatever the what do you call it, the onboarding process, your little tutorial about how you interact in this space and what are the rules, and then you agree to it and you say yes, I agree, and it's even recorded. Hilarious. So there's this like element of verification as well.
We're very close probably to that.
Very
Yeah.
cool. We
So
need
I
to get
guess
someone to.
an
I've heard
AI
that someone's
avatar.
using them already in VRchat. That they are
I
using
can
them and
see
they're
that.
interacting
So
with
an
guests. So
so an AI avatar would be the equivalent of a cyborg in the real world, I guess. That's kind
Yeah.
of the same thing, isn't it? A
Yeah.
virtual
I'm
cyborg,
just not
basically.
sure
Oh, that's so
who
cool.
has to. Someone still has to run the account of the avatar, though. I
And there's still
don't
be
get that
like
bit.
an interface. I actually was
Hmm.
even messaging on Discord the organization that's doing the AI sex bot. There's like a sex bot that's answering sex questions. I think it's called Be Educated. And I've been messaging them on Discord, and I was like, "Who are your professionals, and who's working with you to make sure this AI is giving good information?" And I got very vague, kind of avoidant answers. They wouldn't tell me any names. They just said, "Oh, we have a team of experts." And I was like, "Well, I would love to like." Maybe I could help out, and like maybe I could do, because I think there is this like we need people monitoring the AI to make sure they're not giving harmful or
Make sure it's giving exactly, because it can
the AI
find any of the information that's on Google, right?
totally they take the Chat GPT, for a model, and then they add in their additional
Right.
machine learning training to it, and depending on who did that, we talked about who did that learning and what filters they're giving it. Like they could be giving it, a very cis heteronormative filter, for example, that still
Exactly.
like defaults to, the
it
best
could
sex
even
ed is
be-
abstinence versus like,
Yeah. I mean, it could
what
even
if
be
it's-
incorrect information. It could be
Exactly.
like you're perpetuating
Yeah.
the urban myths that we have, which is,
Right,
popular
exactly.
thing to do, just because it's easy
Yeah.
to keep things that way, rather than
Yep.
actually
No,
give
totally.
detailed, direct information about what it is we're talking about, which is
Right.
essential human
Yeah.
interaction on a
There's
deep,
also like a lot
intimate
of like
level.
there's a lot of faulty research out there. So they could like, we pulled up an article, and
Exactly.
this article says this thing, and it's like actually that
That's
article is bullshit for these reasons, and this is why, and like
verification.
so do we have that AI like? So yeah, I think that
being
I will
verified
bug them
by
again.
a human.
But we need
Yeah.
humans that are
Is
not
there
just like
regulation?
no sex ed, but humans that are like informed about all the different kinds of identities and experiences and expression. Like lots of sex ed accounts on the internet still just kind of tout very, very normative sexual behavior and don't really talk about, like I still see like a lot of like misinformation about pornography, like that like porn is ruining relationships and causes erectile dysfunction, and it's like there is no evidence to support that that's real. If anything, it's the opposite, that porn actually improves lesbian and queer relationships, and only decreases sexual contact in hetero relationships where men have bad communication about their desires. So they're watching more porn because they're not talking about it with their partner.
Yeah,
it's not
or
the
they don't
porn's
have a
fault that they have
partner
bad
because they're not
communication skills.
able to, get to that point. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, there's just like so much
Yeah.
misinformation out there that I just get like,
Well,
yeah.
I think that's a relationship almost with an AI in a way, like the relationship that some people can have with supporting pornographic material. That's you and your relationship with the computer, I guess, in a way, but it's a form of AI. You're asking it for what you want, and it's giving you what you want to see.
Yeah.
And that ends up being some people's relationship. Yeah. It's very on
that's true.
demand, which, is great if you don't want to do the work. Yeah.
Do you guys have thoughts on the AI porn that's being developed, the porn that's being made by AI? They're just taking like random images online and creating fake porn based on it.
I probably need a little
Have
bit
you
more
heard of this?
information. I haven't heard much about it.
Yes,
You
there's
mean like
there's
still
websites you can go
images
to.
or
No, you can go to
video?
and like type in "I want this kind of video," and they'll generate an AI video with random faces and bodies doing whatever you want them to. And some of it's like
Putting
they're
pieces
pre-recorded
together.
or whatever. Yeah, but they've been made by AI, so it's like maybe it's a bukkake scene, but it's done by AI with like some semblance of images that you would have seen in other porn sites. They look human, but they're done by AI. And lots of porn stars are porn performers are reacting to it because they're not actually paying porn performers to consult. They're not actually paying any of them for their content or their image usage, even though it's not directly their image. And they're not actually like talking to people in the field about like, how would we do this well? Again, it's just like tech companies artificially generating imagery without considering the implications.
Random. And is it actually using, are you saying that they're not giving copyright or whatever to the images that are being used?
They're just using whatever data source. So much of the pornography on the internet was all stolen. It was uploaded in the 80s and 90s,
Sure.
they just scanned a bunch of imagery that was stolen, and then the copyright fighting has been happening for decades around, this was my image that was stolen from me 20 years ago and uploaded very early on the internet. And the DMACs make it really hard for performers to ever get recompense, because maybe that site takes it down and then someone pirating uploads the same image 50 more times the next day, and so the sites aren't held responsible for it. And so those images just keep getting replicated for years and years, and there's no way to ever manage it. So there's this kind of constant like regurgitating of imagery theft from performers that have been happening since the beginning of porn online.
Wow. Well, I didn't really know enough much about that. So what would I say to your question? What do I think about that? Yeah, well, that's this funny thing that we're saying, like, we can employ AI we can have a joke that, hey, it doesn't cost much, or that it costs less. But what I'm hearing you talk about is that there still needs to be this human interface where there is regulation, or there is people who have knowledge and know how to educate in areas, and that's not happening. Yeah, it's like
it's always tech companies using our images to exploit,
right?
Right, and make and profit off of this thing versus Lily.
Yep, rather than
because
actually
I think
support
that
a good industry. Yeah.
Because AI is still in its infancy, so it's still very much reliant on who is programming it. It is not matured enough. It's like a little bit like a baby in a way, or a child. It's just a child just repeats what he's been learning from his parents until he gets out there into the world and experiences other things. That's when he becomes a whole person, and that's why the reasons of the legal age of consent and all those sort of things, they come from that. Children can't make up their own minds because they don't know enough about the world. And I think AI is at the moment very much like a child. It's only repeating what it's learning from its actual creators. Once it's smart enough to actually experience things as a whole entity, like a smart, intelligent entity, then it's able to actually learn a lot faster than a human, and therefore it's going to actually be of a lot of benefit for us. And it's not there yet. It's still too early days. It's like trying to eat the cake, while still in the oven. You need to give it time to actually cook.
Totally. And I would argue that, like, us being the parenting generation, that we're all a part of, we all have a role in parenting the same way that, like, a community parents children, that we all have a role in holding the AI accountable to do a good job with really delicate subjects like sexuality, like pornography, like relationships. And, if we aren't holding them accountable to, like, okay, yeah, you're showing this depiction of this, kinky scene, but you didn't show a consent conversation first. You didn't show, them using condoms. So if we are holding AI accountable to, like, this is our baseline. These are our standards. Every scene you create should have X, Y, and Z in it to start creating this.
That could be woven into it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not so much. I mean, I what you're saying, hold AI accountable. I believe that maybe it's more like hold accountable the people that are actually training AI, and that we have to, like you say, be part of the conversation. Everybody has to be part of the conversation. Yeah, everybody has to be part of the conversation and get involved, and AI should be helped by everybody.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's like, when they say it takes a village to raise a child. That's an old African sort of saying. Exactly. And I think nowadays, globally, it takes the world to bring up AI to become something useful.
I appreciate that. And which means, like, redistribution of wealth and power. We have to redistribute wealth and power so that tech companies aren't making all the decisions for us in our relationship to AI. It can't be, the top 10 white men in the world, deciding our fate, which has been the problem in so many other areas of our civilization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you've got a great
vision. Hey guys,
Soleil.
we've got some people in the chat. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Soleil, this is really, really good. But we've got new people in the chat. It's the first time. Jinxie Cat too. She's been been told to check it out. So welcome to our stream. Welcome here. And Under Sue, hola. Hi. welcome here. I hope you guys
Yeah,
enjoy
we
it.
have
If you've got any
Espanol
questions,
and English. This is an English stream largely, but we really want
Yes.
to have like Espanol. Maybe that's
Well, I speak Spanish,
another
so
session where
if,
we
if
can learn.
anybody
Yeah,
asks
well, where we
questions,
can learn a few phrases. If you,
Yo también,
Yeah.
un poco.
Yeah. and
yeah,
Soleil
exactly.
speaks Spanish a little bit as well. So if somebody has a question and they'd rather we answer in Spanish, I guess we could do that. But yeah,
So,
guys,
Jinxie
if you've got a
Cat,
question,
where did you hear?
just
Who,
go ahead.
like, how did you hear about Three Girls? If you're able to comment, we're just about to wrap up, but we can take some comments from you. You've been told to check us out, so it'd be good to hear. Do you normally use Twitch, or is this like new for you to jump on to this platform? We've been talking about, well, gone around from hentai porn through to so many things, to the technocratic problems in regards to AI.
Alternative lifetimes as well, in alternative lifetimes, and
We've gone everywhere
spiritual
today.
things, and AI. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's been a bit of a hodgepodge of everything. It's been good.
Yeah. So one of my subscribers told me, okay, cool, great, welcome.
Oh, awesome. Yes, welcome.
So
I
each
hope
week
to see you again.
we, at this time each week, we live stream from vrchat to you. And yeah, very open for you to ask questions about any topic that you would like, three faces of the feminine to respond to. Otherwise, we just chat about shit that we like to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are also planning in the future to eventually have a party. Like one of the episodes will have a live audience as well, which we can ask. You can ask questions to us in a sort of live environment. But we're still planning the details and the logistics of that. But that will be coming in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you can join us here and be a part of the intimacy. Cool. That sounds great, Lilybit.
Yeah. Have the conversation with us. We'll probably have to do it in a way so it's like a private group or something like that. So, but we'll get to the details once we're closer to actually have one of these events. And also, I think after the show, we could actually have a party with a DJ. Who knows? We might turn into something quite big.
Fun.
For the first one. Yeah, that'll be good. It will be by invite only, though. It won't be just like you can just jump in and that's it. It will be by invite only. So I will keep you posted.
My headset is low in case I die.
Oh.
Just letting you all know.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, we're out of here.
That's the cue that we have to go. Yes.
Yeah,
We're going to have to go. And thanks, guys, for joining us.
What do you think about everything going to streaming films and less DVDs? Well, will you have that question, or we'll roll it over to next week from you, Jinxie Cat, too?
Yes, we'll roll it to
what
next
do you
week.
think about everything going to streaming films and less DVDs? Okay, well, here we are. We're live streaming. DVD, what someone said the other day, they were talking about CDs. I was like, what's a CD? Again, like the cross-dresser, or hang on, what does it stand for? And yeah, I had a bit of a laugh that CDs are such an ancient thing, and DVDs are, well, I don't know, they're going out, I guess.
I think they're on the way out. I think I haven't seen a DVD for like years.
But the same problem with the porn industry is with the entertainment industry. It's much harder when everything is streaming for the actors and companies to get paid for the content. So it definitely brings up new problems around copyright, around ownership, around credit, and that's just something we all need to manage better to actually make sure people are being cared for and supported, which is a problem in general with our everything being so easily accessible.
It's just like, it's almost like there's so much free content now. Like there's just everybody can like just stream so easily their content to the world.
Very few people pay for porn anymore because it is just so accessible. So yeah, when the people used to actually buy DVDs. Yeah.
But it's like when you go to the supermarket now, there with so much choice, you get overwhelmed with the amount of choice that you end up oh, whatever, I'll just grab the first thing. So yeah, we get into that too. But that's a conversation for another day, guys.
Thank you.
Let's just finish in a nice note. Thank you, everybody, to being here, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Free Girls.
Bye.
Ciao.
Adios.